Hello and welcome to Oracle of the Divine Ophite. And this is actually a collective tarot reading, but it's riding on the back of a channeled message. So it might not resonate for everyone, but if it does resonate, please give the video a like and share it if you feel so inclined. And also please subscribe if you haven't done so yet and hit the notification bell. So what I've done here is I've done a pre-shuffle and an initial layout just to get some more clarification on the channeled message that I was receiving. And this message seemed to me to be coming out in the form of a story. This is a story about someone, so it seems to me like this is for a very specific person out there. It's like the story of someone's life, and the story that I'm getting here is that someone tried to make you feel inadequate because they felt inadequate. And this person is being described as someone with a lot of earthy energies. They might have a lot of Virgo in their astrological chart, but at the same time, they've got a heavy water influence as well. A lot of Scorpio influence, and this makes them very, very rooted in their earthy qualities. They're very sexual. This is a massively sexual person, probably someone that has a sex addiction, as a matter of fact. And this person, whoever I'm speaking to out there, when you first met them, you didn't recognize that they had a sex addiction or that they had tendencies in this regard. And so this person just seemed like a really great person. They seemed like a star. It seemed like you just really got along with them. They were really vibrant, seemingly outgoing, seemingly very friendly. They had friends around them. They had a social group around them. And they seemed very loving and very generous and very, kind of open. They were a lot of fun. So the initial impression that you got from this person, it's like they were matching your energy. Like this wasn't who they actually were. They just met you and they're able to pick up on other people's energies because they have so much water influence in their soul and in their energy. So they're actually really good at reading people. They're actually quite it's like they're like a negative empath, like a vampiric empath sort of an energy. So they can pick up on other people's energies and mimic them, and they picked up on your energy. And you're actually the person I described. You're like this fun, vivacious, vibrant, friendly, loving, open person, but they picked up on that energy and they mimicked it so that they could attract you. And, so you thought that they were a really good match for you because of this, because they were kind of mirroring you, and you just felt very comfortable with them right away. You felt like a very strong bond with them right away. And when they met you, you were very self-sufficient. Like you were depending on yourself. You were taking care of yourself. You were living your own life. You were doing what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. You had a vibrant social life. You had a pretty good friend group. But at the same time, you were seeking something a little bit deeper. You were looking for a deep, committed, long-term relationship. And this person just mirrored all of those qualities that you were looking for in a partner. And so you thought that this person would be a good choice to be in a long-term relationship with, because they just seemed, not absolutely perfect, but perfect enough for you, because, you're a kind, nurturing, empathic, accepting person. So even though you saw some flaws, you didn't let the flaws really grow to anything big in your mind, because you were looking for the best in them, because they were mirroring good things to you. So they were coming off as being this person. This was a complete fallacy. Like they were not this person at all. And actually this person is quite clever. They're actually they have a lot of powerful mental energy. They're very manipulative. They're very good at saying what needs to be said when it needs to be said. They're good at like reading other people and kind of matching up what they need to show to other people in order to get their way and get what they want. And this person decided that you were actually the person that they wanted to be. Like, you actually, they were mimicking your energy. And then finally they realized somewhere on a subconscious level that they actually were jealous of you. Like, even though they were in a romantic relationship with you, they were actually jealous of you. And it's very interesting because this person, really their expression of masculine and feminine, and this reading could be for a masculine person or a feminine person, so take it how it resonates. But this person is actually the opposite of you in their expression of masculine or feminine energy, but there's something that they saw in you that they really felt was missing in their expression, and they actually became jealous. And because they were jealous, it's like they felt inadequate around you. Like, somehow being around you, being like the wonderful person that you are, the bright light that you are, made them feel inadequate. And they decided that the best way to deal with that was to make you feel inadequate, to make themselves feel better, because they're actually coming from a very immature, very childish energy, and they have a lot of unhealed wounds that they are refusing to deal with. And so they decided to attack you. And the initial attacks were very subtle. They just started, saying things to make you feel unsure of yourself, to make you question things that you had always known were true about yourself. Sarcastic quips, nasty remarks that were kind of disguised as jokes, and kind of saying things under their breath, and kind of, saying things and then doing a little laugh afterwards, like these types of little tricks. And it slowly started to chip away at your self-confidence, your self-esteem, like things and beliefs that you had always known about yourself, like ways that you had always felt about yourself. Because when they met you, you were this really confident, really outgoing person. So like, if you look at these cards, like all the energies that you see here, like in particular the Queen of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, these types of energies, this is like the star. This is who you were when they met you. You were already this person. And they decided to make you feel like, you weren't this person, that actually these were their qualities. When in reality, that wasn't the truth at all. They didn't have any of these qualities. And if they did have these qualities, they certainly didn't take the time to develop them. They may have had these qualities if they had taken the time to develop them, but they didn't, because they were too busy kind of resting in their unhealed wounds. So they tried to transfer their unhealed wounds onto you. And this person I'm getting, they were also quite a partier. Like, this is a person that really likes to party. They like to drink. They like to do drugs. They like to like have sex a lot. They like to have multiple sexual partners. They just, anything. They're very like libertine in their value system. They think that that's like the ideal way to live life. They have some sort of like real problem, like a real kind of ideological problem with anything that they perceive as being like normal or traditional. So they think of like being in a relationship, like being in a monogamous relationship. They think that's like square, or that's something that you only do if you want to lock yourself into a prison. So even though they presented to you that they would be perfectly fine being in a monogamous relationship, being in a marriage, and you may or may not have been married, I'm getting the sense here that this was a long-term relationship of some sort. It was like, on your part, it was a long-term committed relationship. On their part, it was just basically like them stealing your energy for a very, very long time and calling it a relationship. the way they were looking at the relationship was that it was always transactional. It was like, and but not even so transactional where like you were giving them something and they were giving you something. In their eyes, it was more like you give me something and I'll maybe give you something if I have the time or the energy, or it's just really selfish, really one-sided. Like the energy I'm getting here is just, it's really kind of like I have to laugh because I can't believe that anybody would be this selfish or this self-absorbed or this much into themselves. Like this person is actually very, very they have a lot of narcissistic qualities. They have a lot of a very like like a big ego, but at the same time low self-esteem. It's very strange. It's like deep down inside they feel inadequate. They feel like they've never been enough. They feel like it's like their inner child is massively wounded. There's like something that they haven't dealt with from their childhood that's really messing them up, but at the same time they've decided to compensate for that with a lot of ego and a lot of kind of like boisterous self-expression of, how great they are or how good they are at things or how smart they are or how sexy they are. Like they really think of themselves as like a really smart, sexy person, when in reality the like who they truly are, that inner child, is just broken. And so they tried to shift that feeling, that broken inner child, onto you, but it never belonged to you. Like whoever I'm speaking to out there, anything that you felt with this person in regards to inadequacy has just been an illusion. It's just been them actually mentally projecting these feelings off of themselves and onto you because they don't want to deal with these feelings. And they actually have a history of doing that with romantic partners. It's kind of like their method of operation, that, that's how they operate in relationships. I'm also getting the sense here that this person has been hiding a very big secret because they kind of come from a more traditional type family structure, and their family has always exerted a lot of mental and social pressure onto them, and they've been hiding this big secret. It's like they've been hiding everything about themselves, really, or at least trying to. They've been trying to hide the partying, hide the drug use, hide the sex addiction. They've spent their entire life hiding things from other people, especially their families, their lovers, even themselves. But this big thing that they're hiding has something to do with their sexuality, and I'm getting the feeling here that this person actually prefers the same sex, but they have been somehow ashamed, or they don't want to admit it to themselves, really, even. But they especially don't want to admit it to other people, because even though preferring the same sex is perfectly acceptable in today's society, at least in the West, they were raised in a situation where that was not necessarily acceptable, and that would involve a lot of like judgment and rejection, like in particular from whoever their like paternal figure was. They were really, really afraid of disappointing or offending their paternal figure. Their paternal figure was very judgmental and very like old fashioned. So they've been hiding this preference for the same sex for basically their entire life. And when they met you, as with previous relationships, they also found it as another way to kind of hide that, to make them look like that's not the case. So there's like a lot going on here. It's like not only is this person just like a total like anxious, nervous, dishonest anxiety ridden, like they're absolutely anxiety ridden all the time, like wreck, but they're also like hiding a secret life, hiding secret feelings, secret preferences for the same sex. They're just, and they just dumped all of this onto you. And this is like, this is the way they operate. This is how they've spent their entire life operating. And this had such a big effect on you because while it was happening, and I get the feeling that this is something that either it's not happening anymore or it's something that's been happening very recently, but it's now coming to an end. Because there's a lot of past energy here, but there's also some lingering present energy. So it's hard for me to tell if the situation is still going on or not. It may be still going on for some of you out there if this resonates with you, and it may be a past situation for somebody out there. So, take it how it resonates for you. But this has had a really big effect on you emotionally, on the course of your life, on your view of relationships has actually changed. It's like they met you and you were very kind of, innocent and open-minded and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and just like ready for the world and kind of thought the best of people. And after meeting this person, you're just kind of like, wow, like people can be really bad. Holy shit. Like it's kind of really put you on guard. Because you don't want to be hurt again, and rightfully so, because this is, this relationship has been full of hurt. And so I'm going to pull a few more cards to kind of, get the future of this situation and also the future of your feelings for this situation, because it kind of, really this impression I'm getting of this person is that this is a person that you really don't want to involve yourself with, because I'm not really getting much real, honest to goodness, true love here. I'm getting that this person is a user. The other thing about this person, I'm still getting more information on this person. This person is actually, they have a very slow moving energy as well. And you may have had talks with this person about changing or about, kind of that things need to change in the relationship. And they're a person that, they'll, if they were going to change, they would take forever. They're really like rude. They're very earthy. They're very kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'll say that I'm going to change or I'm going to work on something or the things are going to get better, and then I'll just take like another 15 years. It's like that type of energy. So I wouldn't really count on it. And meanwhile, they're just constantly plotting ways on how to mess with you mentally. Like that's their primary motivation. Their primary motivation is not saving the relationship and having a good, nice long-term relationship with you. Their primary motivation is to just fuck with your head and make you feel bad, make you feel insecure, make you feel like you need them. That's a big thing. They want to feel like they've won over you mentally. It's not even really about emotions. Like they're just, their main operation with you is in the mental sphere. They feel like they need to be victorious. They need to be the winner mentally in every situation. And so they just kind of sit around and think of ways to mess with you mentally so that they can keep the upper hand, and so that they can keep covering up all of their dirty secrets, their affairs, their secret online relationships, their lies, their cover-ups, their whatever. They're hiding their real sexuality. So they just sit there like pretty much all day just thinking of ways to do that, and thinking of ways to make sure that the, whoever they're involved in doesn't find, whoever they're involved with in a long-term relationship doesn't find out what's really going on. They always want to be like the gatekeeper of the information, like whatever information is pertinent to the situation, they want to be the person that holds that information because they know that that is where they get the power. Meanwhile, this is you. You're just this beautiful, wonderful person that's full of abundant creative energy, full of love, full of life. And they know that. They know that that's who you are. And their goal is to get as much of that energy, creativity, and life from you as they possibly can. And by the way, you might also have children with this person. I'm getting the sense that it's definitely a possibility that there is at least one child involved in this situation. And that is also a complication because it's very difficult. Yeah, I'm getting maybe a male child, maybe a boy that is still young enough where it's relevant whether or not, parents are getting along with each other. So they might not be like a little tiny child, but they're still like, you feel like you want to have a good relationship with this person for the sake of the child. And you actually worry that, that this situation, that the relationship between the two of you might negatively impact other things in life. So you've been really going back and forth as to how you want to deal with this situation. Whether you want to just cut this person off completely or you want to keep trying, you want to keep lines of communication open, but it's very difficult to keep lines of communication open when you're dealing with someone who is just constantly being deceptive, who you actually don't even really know who the person actually is. Like, you might have known them for years and years and years and years, but then you realize, wow, I don't even know this person. Like, who is this? I was just like, I spent all these years, all this time sleeping with the enemy, like sleeping with somebody that that didn't really even care about me as much as I cared about them, that saw the relationship in a completely different way. So it's like, whoever I'm speaking to out there, there's a lot of confusion here because, you were just approaching the relationship with love and openness, and they were approaching the relationship with deceit and greed and selfishness. And it's really, really difficult to shift your perspective, isn't it? When you have a situation like that and all of a sudden you have to start seeing yourself through that person's eyes, because you've been seeing yourself through your eyes, through how you look at them, and you're like, oh, they must feel the same way about me. I wouldn't lie to them, I wouldn't manipulate them, I wouldn't have like a double life against them. But then you realize that that's not how they look at you at all. So it's like, what do you do? So let's see if we can get some advice on what you should do. Because it's definitely, especially if there is a child involved, there may not be a child involved for everyone out there. I mean, if this resonates with you and everything else fits, but then there's no child, there's still a message for you here, because really the main message here is centered on this actual relationship, the relationship between you and this deceitful individual. And obviously this has been causing you a lot of sorrow and a lot of pain. So it's something that, a decision needs to be made. I know that right now you're in that Two of Swords energy. And if you've already made the decision to walk away from the relationship, good on you. But then there's also still, having the person in your life and dealing with them. Dealing with, how to keep the peace, how to be, if there is a child involved, how to be a parent with this other person without things completely falling apart and having a negative impact. You might have other commitments with the person as well. You might have shared assets, you might have a shared business. Like, there's all sorts of connections that come about when you're in a long-term situation, long-term relationship with someone. You become very entangled in their energy. But this was his or her, take it how it resonates. This was his or hers goal all the time, was to become entangled in your energy, because your energy is like gold. Your energy is valuable. Your energy is creative and abundant. So, this person has been feeding off of your intensity and using it to manifest, using it to build things for themselves. And meanwhile, you haven't had as much energy as you should have had to build things for yourself, because they've been taking a lot of it, at least half of it, for years and years and years, and kind of blocking it up, damming it up for their own use. So it's time for this to stop. Like, it's time for an understanding of what this relationship is really about, what this relationship has really been about. It's time for you to take your power back, whoever I'm speaking to out there. This is the message I'm getting, is that this is, if this person is affecting you negatively in any way at this point, they need to be cut off. There needs to be some sort of a boundary or a protection put up against this person, so that they no longer have this level of power in your life. And they also, there needs to be some honesty. You need to, there's the advice. You need to take back your own authority. You need to become the king or queen of your own life once again. Because basically this person has just been trying to steal your life from you. And the only person that can stop that from happening is you. And you have everything. You have everything you need to do that. You have the knowledge, the experience, the power. You're capable of taking care of yourself. Even financially, I'm getting the message here that you have a skill set. Like, you know what it is. Whoever I'm speaking to, you know what your skill set is. And you can use your skill set. And that's another thing, is like, your skill set is actually superior to this person's skill set, and they know it. Which is another reason that they have tried to attach themselves and entangle themselves so deeply with you, because they know that if they're with you, they're always going to be okay. If they're with you, they're always going to have enough. They're always going to have money. They're always going to have a material abundance. There's always going to be creative energy. There's always going to be doors opening, because that's who you are. You're a person that opens doors. You're a person that creates opportunities. They know that. And so that's what they want from you. They want that energy that you have, that you just naturally have, that they don't naturally have, because they haven't dealt with themselves. The reason they don't have that energy is because they have never really, really sat down and looked at themselves and accepted themselves for who they are. They've spent their entire lives in self-deception. And when you are in self-deception mode, you can't create anything. You have to be in alignment in order to create. You have to be a whole person in order to create. And they're just not. They're misaligned, self-deceit, deceit of others, anxious, low self-esteem, like you name it. This person really has a lot of shadow to deal with that they're not willing to deal with. But that's not you. And so, you have to separate yourself out energetically from this person so that you can go back to being the powerful creator that you know yourself to be, that you knew yourself to be before you got involved with this person's mind games and deceptions and manipulations. That, the person that you were before all of that, that's who you really are. And they know that. And you know that as well. But you just need to assert yourself. You need to assert your queen energy. And, just cut this person off energetically. Don't allow them to steal any more of your emotional energy and use it to their own advantage. Don't allow them to do that anymore. And I know that's easier said than done, but you are capable of doing it because you are this is you. You have that queen energy. You're capable of cutting this person off energetically and never looking back. And if you're in a situation where you need to still be cordial with them for whatever reason, you have to communicate with them because there's financial entanglements or other social entanglements or whatever, just put up your safety wall and be cordial, but you don't have to be fully wide open. Not anymore. They've lost that. They've lost that privilege of having full access to you and full access to your heart. It's not theirs anymore. They don't deserve it. You deserve to be the queen or king of your own existence. You deserve that. And anybody that wants to share your existence with you has to earn it. They should have to earn it through being a trustworthy, kind, supportive person. If they can't do that, they don't deserve it. So that's the message I'm getting. I'm going to leave it there. If this resonated with you, like the video, share it, and please subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. This is Oracle of the Divine Ophite, and I hope this has been helpful for somebody out there. All the blessings to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.